The Electronic Entertainment Expo began in 1995, created to fill a need for a specific video game trade show for developers, publishers, and manufacturers. Prior to this, video games were often shown at other trade shows, but E3 would allow for the gaming industry's giants to show off their stuff in one place, since it's grown exponentially, becoming one of the highest anticipated media events. But along with that excitement, E3 is also known for having some of the most cringe moments of any popular media expo. Devs may be brilliant artists and innovators, but sometimes they aren't the most articulate orators. Watching out for cringe has actually become a highlight of the expo. So today, in anticipation of the 2018 E3, we're counting down the top 10 most awkward E3 moments. Also, heads up guys, we're going to be doing a bunch of coverage on E3 coming up in the next week, so keep your eyes peeled. At number 10, Jesse Wellens. Some of you may recognize this man's, Jesse Wellens, a pretty popular YouTuber who created Prank vs. Prank. He was asked by EA to come present for Need for Speed Payback, and during his introduction for the game, he hardcore choked. It was pretty painful.
So, I am here to talk about Need for Speed Payback.
According to Jesse, in a follow-up video that he posted on his channel, he didn't read the script the night before, and the teleprompter script wasn't what he expected it to be. No, he also blamed the producers of the show for switching the script up on him, and for giving him the wrong cue, hence his back being turned to the camera when his portion of the show started. But apparently the teleprompter did have a script on it. He just blanked because it wasn't what he was expecting.
If you guys didn't know, Need for Speed Payback,
This has prompted a whole lot of articles about why E3 shouldn't be using influencers during their conferences. People who generally know nothing about the games or the industry. So here's hoping we won't be getting any more cringeworthy YouTubers popping up during the 2018 E3.
Thank you, Nick, for having me. Hey man!
Up next at number 9, the SEGA SATURN launch from 1995. When launching the SEGA SATURN console during the very first E3 in 1995, SEGA used this promotional material to advertise the console, and it had a lot of people scratching their heads.
You are approaching Saturn. You are only seconds away.
There is so much going on with this launch video that it's hard to even interpret what the hell you just watched when it's over.
SEGA SATURN, the benchmark of engineering excellence.
While it's quite derivative of the 90s, tonally, the ad reel itself is all over the place, intercutting gameplay footage with live action cutaways that are absurd at best. There's a woman dressed up as Saturn, the planet, which, while it is weird, is at least relevant. Sort of.
Please, don't disappoint him. He doesn't like that.
Then we get this dude who looks like the dollar store version of Kratos hyping us up about the future.
You have come a long way, but are you ready for the future?
Which then turns into this fella dancing around a TV with SEGA SATURN games on the screen.
Aww, hit it! SEGA's next-generation gaming platform, revolutionary sports and arcade gameplay.
It just gets weirder from there, and even more 90s and more repetitive.
SEGA SATURN.
It almost feels as if it's a parody of itself. Needless to say, didn't convince a lot of people to buy the SEGA SATURN.
We're having a breakdown, we're having a breakdown, we're having a breakdown, we're having a breakdown, we're having a breakdown.
And at number 8, Wii Music. Nintendo announced the release of their music video game aptly called Wii Music back at the 2008 E3. Aside from being an overall awkward press conference from the video game titan, we're talking middle-aged blazer-type people attempting to be relevant and comical,
Nintendo simply brings more smiles to more faces.
music demonstration itself was kind of odd, and it's gone down in E3 history as one of the most cringeworthy moments. Why? Well, because Wii Music sounded awful. I mean, come on, you had one job. Take a listen. Up next, number 7, the Giant Crab. Typically, Sony's E3 conference is highly anticipated, and over the years they've given us some stellar reveals, and iconic moments, including the likes of the 1995 PlayStation price reveal, where Steve Race came up to the stage and only said the words $299.
$299.
It was a total one-up to SEGA, who prior to Sony's conference had revealed that the price of their SEGA SATURN console was $399. The console was also prematurely launched, which caused some retailers to get seriously pissed off and drop SEGA SATURN altogether. So all in all, Sony's got a pretty great E3 history, but it's also a history riddled with a bit of cringe. Most notably, there was a moment back during the 2006 E3 where Sony had revealed a game called Genji Days of the Blade, which was set in a historically accurate Japan, featuring famous battles that actually took place. Right after the presenter said that, he then immediately showed this piece of gameplay.
So here's this giant enemy crab.
Yes, very historically accurate. Up next, number 6, Jamie Kennedy. Remember Jamie Kennedy? The actor-comedian who was in classic hits like Malibu's Most Wanted and the Mask sequel Son of the Mask? Yeah, probably best if you forgot about those. Sorry for bringing it up.
Video games, they've been, where are my jokes?
As far as E3 is concerned, Kennedy got a whole lot of criticism for something other than his acting though. In 2007, he hosted Activision's E3 conference, and not only did he manage to piss off the gaming community, but he made a bit of a fool of himself, with people speculating that he was actually drunk during the show. Right off the bat, he immediately made a bad joke about how E3 makes the guys at Comic-Con look like Ocean's 13. Of course, the joke bombed, and it only went downhill from there.
Proving ground. Proving, like, what do we gotta prove? Like, yo, step to my board, and yeah, it's on.
Yeah,
like,
it's on, man.
He called the audience virgins, and also tried to make a mockery of many of the presenters, some of which managed to call him out on his bullshit.
So I was wondering if I could just do the whole interview as Ozzy Osbourne.
Absolutely.
Alright.
Aren't you doing that already?
No.
And number 5, BATTLETAG. What's one way to engage your audience and get them invested in a brand new innovative game?
Right? It's attractive people running around.
By awkwardly involving your conference's host in a game of lackluster laser tag. Sorry, did I say engage? I meant alienate. This went down at UBISOFT 2010 conference. Joel McHale, who was hosting, was interrupted by a super awkward demonstration of BATTLETAG, with producer Gail Sadu running through the auditorium alongside a bunch of models and game devs, playing what can only be described as a home version of laser tag.
Yeah, we won. Sorry, ladies.
Nice. Way to go. You beat models.
Sadu then proceeded to describe the game in a really confusing manner, which had most game critics scratching their heads. GameSpot even gave BATTLETAG the Special Achievement Award called Biggest What The. Perhaps what's funnier is that when the game itself was released, it only appeared in 15 Toys R Us stores in Texas, and all the Zellers stores, a now dead chain, in Canada.
Tell me, if I play at home, will it hurt?
On the plus side, Joel McHale didn't disappoint though. Not only does he take it in stride, he manages to win a match that he's awkwardly thrust into with Sadu, and then calls him out on the cheesy aspects of the demonstration.
That's right, I just beat the creator of his own game. You're nothing, you're garbage, go bury yourself.
And at number 4, Aisha Tyler for Ubisoft. Ubisoft always serves up the cringe real good at E3. A few years after our last number in 2015, the company had Aisha Tyler host their conference.
We were in rehearsal. You know how excited I am about this press conference. You guys are going to lose it. This is going to be awesome. Enjoy.
Okay, thank you.
And while she seems pretty genuine and enthusiastic throughout, in terms of trying to hype an already failing conference that is, it still ended up being pretty cringeworthy, despite her best attempts at sucking some comedy out of it.
This is Ubisoft's E3 215, that's not a year, 2015 press conference.
One specific moment that rings a bell for most was when she sat down next to a dude in an Assassin's Creed Syndicate cosplay and put him on the spot about memes. Dude got super awkward, she tried to make the best out of it, and it was all around painful to endure.
You look insanely hot. But a guy from your era probably has rickets or something I can catch, but you look amazing.
Lana.
And at number 3, the Konami 2010 press conference. The 2010 Konami conference had it all. Literally. Sweaty Mexican wrestlers slapping each other, uncomfortable tension between co-workers, really odd hosting, magic tricks, and a whole lot of painful dancing.
It's not just dancing, this is Dance Masters!
You're right.
It's an amalgamation of so many different breeds of awkward that it's almost too much to handle. That being said, coming from Konami, it's not totally surprising. And hey, at least it looks like they're having fun with it. Unlike those poor souls in the Wii music demonstration who clearly had a metaphorical gun held against their heads.
Promise of the more than 1 million troops. 1 million troops. Wow.
And at number 2, Mr. Caffeine. Damn it, Ubisoft, not again. How could we not include Mr. Caffeine on our list?
Well,
I guess I now know where not to take the kids on vacation this year.
Mr. Caffeine, aka Aaron Priceman, was the host of Ubisoft's 2011 E3 conference, and he's gone down in history as being an incredibly energetic host with really, really bad jokes.
Hey, want to come over and play my Wii? And thanks to the Sony Move, here, hold my Joy Wand.
Throughout the presentation, he kept throwing out odd, awkward phrases, the likes of poop on your toothpaste, mispronouncing Tom Clancy, Colancy, and his most memorable,
everyone do it with me, diddle, 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 diddle. I said everyone go diddle.
A sound effect that he kept doing, even though the joke clearly didn't land. Silver lining though, he's become a meme, and the internet has remixed him a whole lot.
And this absolutely epic fail right here, yikes!
And last but not least, in at number 1, the Weird Gamer Guy. For our last number, I present to you YouTube Gold. Here we have Onyx the Fortuitous, a character played by Andrew Bowser, a writer, director, and actor who now hosts a podcast on Nerdist. But back when this video went viral on YouTube Tessa Smash's channel, everyone was like, who the hell is this guy?
Would it be okay if I just asked you a few questions about your experience at E3?
I don't know. Maybe.
While it's widespread knowledge now that he's a performer, at the time people thought he was the most awkward thing to ever crawl out of E3. The video shot at the 2012 E3 features Tessa interviewing patrons of the conference, and Onyx's interview is utter cringe. Take a look.
What's your favorite game?
I don't know. This one? I don't know. Yeah, it's just like going to other worlds, you know, like other dimensions where you aren't rejected all the time. I don't know, like other worlds where your dad still sees you as his own. Maybe I'm not Mark who works at Arby's. Maybe I'm Onyx the Fortuitous, Slayer of the Bright Realm. I don't know.
Alright, there we have it, friends. Which conference do you think will be the most awkward of the bunch this year? Ubisoft. And of course, what are your predictions for the E3 reveals this year? Give us a shout with all of your thoughts in those comments below. If you dug this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And for more on E3 and gaming in general, take a look at the playlist that we currently have up on your screen. In the meantime, thanks for watching everybody. I'll catch you all in the next video.